Hello, everybody. Today, Warner Brothers debuted a new trailer for The Flash, the second trailer for that film, which is due out this coming June 16th, I believe. We are going to dig into that trailer right now. By the way, I'm Dave Lott. Joining me for this is Bobby Jackson. How's it going, Bobby?
Good. It's good to join you on this very big day for Warner Brothers. At least it seems like it will be because they are betting heavily on this movie. I mean, it look, think about it. It's
Yeah.
April 25th, and as we're speaking, movie theater owners and people of media are now watching this movie. We got
Yes.
the second trailer today, which we'll talk about, but they're right now watching this movie, and the movie comes out, like you said, in June. So the confidence is pretty high.
Yeah.
So let's get into this trailer actually. So, like you said, they did debut it today, and they did also show it at CinemaCon. And right off the bat, I will say that this looks like it will be very epic in scale. It has that same type of feeling and vibe to me that um, the last Spider-Man movie had. So it feels like Far From Home. It feels like it's going to be on that scale where you're going to see all these different things and iterations of. Obviously, we see that Michael Keaton's in it heavily. We know Ben Affleck's in there, so we have that Batman esque aspect to it where we're going to see multiple Batman. We know we're seeing multiple Flash. So it'll be interesting just from the perspective of how big this movie seems to be going. Because from the visual standpoint, it looks fantastic. In fact, it really looks like they're sticking very closely to that Zack Snyder design language, and it as it should to a degree because it still inhabits that Snyder verse of the DC EU. So yes, that visual language should be very similar in terms of what we're getting. And Andy Muschietti looks like he does a really good job in terms of playing within that mold, that world, and also going to give us some things that will be of the familiar type once we get some of that Michael Keaton stuff in there. And it really looks like they're doing him justice. I would have to say in terms of giving him the weight that he deserves, that things that he couldn't have done back in 89 or any other of the time frame for those Batman movies, because stunt choreography wasn't what it was back then as it is now. Just the visual looks and things that they can do now wasn't there. So giving him his just due, I think, will be nice enough to see in and of itself. But just from outside of that, getting a little bit more of the story, at least for people who are unaware. I already kind of could tell that they were doing a version of Flashpoint, which is from the comics, which there's also an animated movie of, if you were to watch it on HBO Max. And obviously, there's differences there, as there tend to be when they do something of a loose adaptation of some of these stories from the comics. But the the meat and potatoes of it is there still. That shell of it is there in terms of Barry is lamenting the loss of his parents, one who's dead and another who's incarcerated for the murder, quote unquote murder of the other parent. And so now he feels that with the ability that he's probably tapped into, knowing that he can traverse time and space and multiverses, that he could change that. And it's in and of itself is just such a juicy element for a story. So I like that that's what this is finally we're getting after I don't know how many years of it being set back and that we weren't going to get it. And of course, the recent issues and trouble that Ezra Miller has gone through, the fact that this movie is finally this close for the rest of us to see, and obviously for those who are seeing it tonight, it's long at this point where we can just finally get it and then go from there. So I'm excited by what I see. I can't wait and to see what people think once they come out of the theaters tonight. And then I can't wait for myself to be able to see it in June. So yeah, I thought what we got in this one was pretty fantastic. So what did you think?
Well, to kind of go along with what you've already said, I mean, I'm pumped about the movie. I have been mainly I've been pumped for a while, mainly because of the way again the studio has been kind of treating it. They seem very confident in it, as you just mentioned. I mean, they're screening it right now as we're streaming live, and it's a ways until it actually releases to the world in June. So that seems to be confidence right there. Just the fact that even though we've had all this Ezra Miller drama, they're sticking with it. Seems like they're confident in it. So that makes me excited. Um, I like the first trailer. I mean, I'm still pumped for this movie as trailers go. If I'm going to comment on this trailer, I think the trailer is fine. I will say I didn't watch this new trailer and I did not feel like an extra sense of excitement, not any more than I already did. Um, I think for one, the trailer it seems to continue to show just more shots from the same scenes and set pieces that we saw in the first trailer. Um, so I don't know if that's just a matter of they're holding a lot back from trailers, which I'm totally cool with. I have no
Mm-hmm.
issue with that. So I'm guessing that's the case. Or like you said, it does seem to be pretty epic in scope, and maybe some of these set pieces are so big, like they are taking up a majority of the film, and that's why that's really all we're seeing. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I think as trailers go, this trailer, the cut of it's fine. It's nothing super special. Um, I thought the first trailer, as trailers go, was a better made trailer than this one, but there's some super cool shots in it. I mean, I've got some stills pulled from the trailer. We'll look at those here in a second, and there's one in particular that for whatever reason I just love the shot. But I guess again, as trailers go, it's fine, but I'm still pumped for the movie. If you follow me.
Yeah, I get that. And I think for my part, more of my excitement comes from the fact that it feels very tangible now. It's so close. So knowing that people are seeing it, that gets me more excited seeing this trailer.
Right.
I would agree in the sense that I think that first trailer was the better of the two, because as you said, they just pulled more from those scenes for this trailer. But they also gave us a couple quick looks at some other stuff going on there. But I
Yeah.
think that at least for what this trailer tries to convey for other people is a little bit more of the story of what's going on here. And I think that they did a good enough job there to explain a little bit more of what's going on here in the first place. And so obviously still leaving some big things out, but that's to be expected because we still have a few months to go before we can actually see the movie. So yeah, but definitely I'm ready to get into these screenshots so we can kind of dissect them a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a feeling you had this screenshot. I didn't know. By the way, I don't know all the stills that you're going to pull up right now, but I had a feeling this would be one of them. And it was the only thing that I really bumped on, not heavily about the trailer, but it just was like, oh boy, I already know the internet's going to go wild because we're talking about his parents' death once again. And so we're going to go there. But what did you want to say about this?
Oh, nothing in particular. I'll be honest.
Okay.
I pulled stills from the trailer with no like kind of plan for any wanting to talk about any of them in particular. Of course I will say as soon as I saw this, there was a part of me that's like, so are those the same like Michael Keaton parents from Batman 89?
Right.
I don't
That's
think
what I was
so.
just thinking.
But not that it matters. They totally don't need to be. I don't care, but it's just something that I thought about for a quick second.
It's interesting as I'm looking at it because I haven't looked at a still of this shot before. But
closer if you want to see a little
yeah. in a way, when it was a little bit further back, not so much now, but it kind of looked a little bit like Gal Gadot. I was like, wait a minute. Well, obviously, Wonder
I
Woman
think I
is
see
not,
what you mean,
but
but
I was
no,
like, wait, what's
not
going on there?
no. This is a cool shot of the, you know, old school
The
Batcave
Batcave.
control
Yeah.
center.
Yep.
Um, one shot
Looks
I
like he
couldn't.
hasn't used it in a while.
Yeah,
It,
yeah.
it
Looks.
definitely
You're right.
looks. I mean, as you see, the tarp is over part of the console, the center console. So yeah, it
Right.
looks like he's probably not been doing his Batman thing for a little bit of time.
But this shot, like this shot of the
Mm,
the Batwing is my favorite of the trailer by far. There's something about the way this looks in motion if you actually watch the trailer. Which, by the
yeah.
way, I mean, I meant to mention if you're watching this and you haven't watched the trailer yet, I just look at the show notes down below. There's a link to the trailer down there. You should go watch the trailer. But yeah, I just thought this shot was really awesome.
Yeah, and especially because whenever you watch Batman for the first time, if you were still younger at that age, that Batwing is iconic. I mean, especially the shot where it goes up in the sky and you have the background of the moon there. And it's just something that's just burned image into my head from being younger of seeing that
Mhm.
image when it just goes up and it's right there. It's just such a cool shot, and seeing this return, you just think like, okay, this is cool. We're back.
Right. Yeah, nice cool shot of the various suits.
So, thing I noticed in this one, if you look to the far right, the suit that is second from the right, I don't know for sure, but did you ever read the comic run from Azrael, and it was Asbats, or as they nicknamed him?
No, I can't say that I did.
It looks, if you look up an image, or if you're at home watching this, if you look up Azrael Batman, it kind of looks like that suit. So I'm kind of curious if that's what that comes from in some sense, because clearly Keaton's Batman has been doing his Batman thing for a while before whatever time he decided to retire. So who knows what kind of different things he's gone through in the time frame that we didn't see, and you get to exist with him. And that's assuming that, and that's also a good question. I wonder if they do a Halloween, and if they consider only the Keaton Batmans as actual canon for this movie, and they don't count Kilmer or Clooney or any of those other ones as the same Batman. Like maybe they're.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
curious. I just never had thought about that literally
I
until I'm thinking about it right
I
now.
don't think there. I don't even think that's going to be kind of mentioned. I don't know. It's almost like something that's just going to be sidestepped. Like we can ignore the other Batman. Like I don't know. I
Maybe.
hadn't thought about that at all.
Hmm.
This reminds me though, like one thing also about the trailer that does make me still just ever so slightly nervous is, and I bring this up because I brought this up about the first trailer. Like I love that first trailer, and I love seeing Michael Keaton as Batman again. Don't get me wrong, I think it's great. There was a part of me, I think I mentioned when we discussed it, like the inclusion of the Danny Elfman Batman theme,
Oh yeah,
in
you did
that
mention that. Yeah.
trailer. There's something about it that just felt a little too fan servicey. Like, haha, like here he is, Batman, isn't this awesome? And it is awesome, but it just didn't feel like it fit. Um, and then like it's cool that he says like, oh, in that first trailer, him saying again, I'm
I'm
Batman.
Batman.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, awesome. Here it's like I feel like we're getting even more of that kind of stuff. Like him in this shot, I think is when he says the like, let's get nuts or whatever, kind of
Yeah.
again
You want to get nuts.
referencing a line from the '89 Batman. And it a little bit makes me go, like we don't have to do that. Like I love '89 Batman, Tim Burton's Batman. Absolutely love that film. Seen it probably more times than I should have,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Some of that stuff is just kind of makes me eye roll just a little bit.
I get that. When he said it, it was, to me, it was at the same time cool and cringy.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
like I like it, but at the same time, it feels like it's a little much. So
Right.
it definitely depends on too if you even grew up with that Batman. For some people, him saying that means nothing because they probably haven't even watched the '89 Batman, which is just sad. But for
Yeah.
some people out there who will watch this movie, that line will not mean anything. It won't hit the same way.
Right. Just a couple shots of the actual Flash in the Flash trailer.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I do like the look of the suit. I mean, this one, it's like it's kind of the end of him, moving quickly, and it
Mm.
still has this kind of like heightened, like, glowing look about it. But
Almost kind of like Black Panther when he gets hit and he absorbs that kinetic energy and it kind of lights up a little bit his suit.
right,
Kind of reminds me of him when he's in motion. It's like his energy is lit up through the suit, and then as he, comes to a standstill, it kind of dissipates.
right, true. Yeah, I mean, we've seen this shot all over the thumbnails for even our show, and I've seen it already on other, websites. I mean, the
Cool
shot of
effect.
it's a cool shot. This shot especially too. I had even just the look of this still image right here. It has a very, like you said, like Snyderverse look about it.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And the thing that I noticed about this shot is how the Flash that I'm guessing is, I don't know if he's native to this particular universe or not. I don't think he's our Flash, but the Flash on the far right or on the right.
Mhm.
Uh, his suit almost looks sort of Batman-esque
Oh, it
in
is. I mean,
design.
if
Okay,
you look at it, I mean, you're probably, even if I blow it
because
up,
you
you're not
can
going to
see
tell.
the
I mean,
cowl
so he's wearing the
lines.
Batman cowl. Even that,
Yeah.
like that's the lightning bolt is spray painted on top of the
Oh,
Batman
I didn't even know. I didn't even
crest.
see that before.
Like, and
Oh,
I think that they released that as like a teaser still image at one point, like early in production. I thought I remember seeing like it's just a shot of the chest, but it's like the Batman logo, but it's been painted red and it's
yeah,
got the bolt on top.
that's right.
It's like he's full on wearing a bat suit,
Yeah,
but
no,
it's
so they
like
he repurposed the
right.
Batman suit into a Flash suit. That's cool. Huh.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's again, it's details that I'm curious to see how this plays out in the movie.
Yeah.
Like why is he wearing this? Um, cool shot of Batfleck.
Yeah. Yeah. I get sad whenever I see Batfleck just because it's like,
Better enjoy this. This is it.
yeah, I know. And I like that version. So I would have loved to have seen him have his own solo movie. And just getting to see him in this sort of is like, okay, it's bittersweet. But do you notice the color tone of his suit? It's sort of like
Yes.
a throwback of like a blue and gray kind of thing going on there.
Yeah, there's another shot in the trailer I tried to pull an image from, but he's moving so fast they all just look kind of blurred. It's him like
Mm,
flying through the air away, I think away from an explosion or something.
okay.
And that shot especially, yeah, like the chest logo stands out a lot more from the rest of the suit, more than it did
Mm,
in like the other Zack Snyder films, because like you said, it's more of like a light, or not a light gray, but a gray
mm,
look about the suit, or like
looks
gray
good.
blue, I guess. Yeah, it does look good. I agree. I know you had thoughts on this shot.
Oh no, no, not this one. I
Oh, I
don't
thought it
even
was this
know what.
one.
No, no, no. It was actually the Batman suit one,
Oh,
or
okay.
all the different suits. But this one is just a cool shot when you see it, especially in motion. It's
Yeah.
just always cool to see anyone that can fly when they go through clouds, and just how you can see that trail as it lifts up from the clouds. But who knows what's actually going on in that shot or where it's at in the movie. So sorry.
Yeah, I mean, she's carrying, the Flash
Yeah.
up somewhere. Um, yeah, another shot of Michael Keaton's Batman.
Yeah.
And then, going back to fan servicey kind of things. But it's cool.
Yeah.
It looks cool.
It looks cool. It looks cool. And that's half the battle, so to speak, I guess, with some of this stuff is you got to
Mhm.
have some cool shots in there as well. And
Right.
some of them will be fan servicey, but some will be just cool shots for being cool shots. And this is definitely a fan servicey one, but well deserved, well placed, well played.
Yeah. And this is out of order, but yeah, another shot of Supergirl in the
Yeah, I still
trailer.
don't know what to think of her yet.
What do you mean?
We haven't gotten much of her in the trailer. We kind of can sort of guess what's going on there in terms of like what we've seen from the two trailers, where it seems like either Cal, I don't know why I'm calling him by his real name, but like either Superman has
Mhm.
been killed by Zod or never got to Earth, and she's there, and she ends up
Mm.
becoming Superman or Supergirl, sorry. And so that's kind of her deal, but we don't really know exactly what all she went through in terms of you see her locked up at some point, so how long she was like that for, and she's clearly not um, as nice as Clark probably is
Right.
after being locked up and probably experimented on and stuff. So
Right.
she's probably got an edge to her.
I mean, the take I get based on the stuff we see in the trailer is like it's almost like the Flash has brought them to this version of a world where there are no superheroes at all.
Mm.
Like I get the impression she didn't even originate here where Zod
Mm.
shows up. It's almost like Zod is showing up. But then you have to ask yourself, well, why is Zod showing up there? Because like in Man of Steel, he's showing up because of Superman, right? Like so I don't know. Just
Well,
it's a vibe I got, or at least that's what it seemed like to me watching it.
I guess it would depend on how they are treating time travel, and if he's not, it depends on if he's time traveling or traveling through the multiverse, because there's definitely a distinct difference between the two.
Right.
So if he's going
True.
back in time, then he's in his own specific world and changing things that happened there. And so if he changed things there, then obviously that's different than maybe he travels to a different world where there was no superheroes and somehow she gets there, you know.
And did we already know this from like have we already heard the fact that because I mean it seems to me based on the beginning of this trailer that I guess the Flash brings back or like causes like Bruce's parents to be alive.
Hmm. Well, was that in the first trailer? I don't recall
No,
that.
because in this trailer, like at the beginning of this trailer, before you get the kind of like first like corporate logo,
Hmm.
basically the first 30 seconds of the trailer, it's Bruce talking, and he's talking about how I've always like been fighting, as a way to like I forget how he words it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I know.
but
I
then he
know.
says and you see the shot of him and he's speaking uh to Barry, like, but you did it. Like he's like he says something like along it's like it's almost like a way to bring my parents back. And then he says to him, but you did it, or something like that. I wish I had the actual dialogue in front of me. But when I watched the trailer twice and I'm like, that would seem to me like something happens here where he like brings Bruce's parents back.
So the impression I got was that he was saying, "You did it. You did what I couldn't do. You brought your parents
Oh,
back."
but you did it for your parents. Okay. Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll probably rewatch it again and make sure I'm not crazy. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
who
mean,
knows?
when you explain it that way, it makes sense. That's all the stills I had for the trailer, by
Okay.
the way.
Yeah. I mean, I am really excited to see what people are saying when they get out of this movie tonight. I don't know what time exactly they'll be finished, but I imagine it's 6:30 here on the West Coast. So I'd imagine by 8 at the latest, we should be having words and uh,
Yeah. I
videos
think
on YouTube and stuff.
I did some digging as I was like, hey, what time exactly are they showing it? And I found a timeline. Now I based on like some posts I saw from people who are actually were going into the showing, I get the impression it was slightly behind the times I saw. But Long story short, I mean, if you're watching this live, it kind of appeared to me that at least East Coast time, where I am, like maybe around 11 o'clock, you might be seeing
Yeah,
reactions
that
pop
puts
up.
it
Yeah.
at about 8 here. So yeah, lines up.
Yep. But soon we will
Soon we will
know.
know.
I'm nervous about it. There's a big part of me that's like, man, I mean, my expectations are high, and I feel like a lot of people are based on the way Warner Brothers is treating this. And
Yeah.
are we going to get a lot of people that walk out of it going, it's good, but like
Mm,
I'm so
mm,
worried. Because I so badly want everyone to walk out and go, my God, like they were
yeah.
not screwing around. This is fantastic. I mean, fingers I
The only
really
thing
want that so
that
badly.
well, the only thing I'm conflicted on, honestly, is I want it to be great.
Mm,
I have no allegiance in terms of like, oh, Marvel's the best. Forget DC. No, I love it all, and so I want it to be really good. My question is, if it is that good, if it does join the $1 billion club and all that good stuff, what do you do with Ezra? I just don't
yeah.
know what happens there. Uh,
I
I
think
don't
it's like a
know. I
play it
don't
by
know.
ear. Like, does he continue, or I should say, do they
Do
continue
they
to work
continue?
on themselves? And how do general audiences like react to this movie and to him in this movie? Like, how will the reaction overall be to Ezra Miller post the release of this film? I think will play a lot into what they decide to do with them. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think, man, I don't envy that position
No.
because there's going to be people that are not going to like it on either side, right? So
Yeah.
you have to be very careful there, especially in light of the other things that are going on with Jonathan Majors.
Majors. Yep.
And it's like, if he, if, if what happens with Ezra and they say, "Oh, this movie is doing great. Uh, we need to keep them on as this character," and then something happens with Jonathan Majors and he's no longer Kang, it just opens up.
Oh yeah.
So I'm so anxious about how all of this is going to turn out. There's obviously a lot of implications here with
Mm.
Ezra, with Jonathan Majors, and just how we treat celebrities in general, and then how that comes into play with money and all that other stuff. So at the end of the day, I am really looking forward to this movie and trying to put all of that aside and just wanting to see a good Flash movie that will hopefully give us some answers that leads us into the DCU with James Gunn and Peter Safran. So I'm excited, but still got my eye kind of like, I wonder what you're gonna
Mm.
do now. So we'll
Yep.
see.
Agreed. I'm with you. I was thinking earlier today, I'm like, man, like I do not envy James Gunn's position of like having to deal with the situation you just talked about. Like,
Yeah,
especially considering it's a situation he's
he
stepped into,
inherited.
he inherited this situation. And you've got to imagine he's sitting there going, please, no more news from Ezra. Like, for now, please let people love this movie as much as he says, he apparently loves the film.
Mhm.
Of course, that's what he's saying publicly. We don't know if it really is that good, but I'm sure he's going, please let everyone love this movie as much as I
Yeah.
do. And let's just get past this. And then I can
If
move on
it's
to DCU, you know?
Yeah, if it's good enough for Tom Gunn, it's Tom Gunn. If it's good enough for Tom
Yeah.
Cruise, I think it's good enough for
Oh,
America.
right.
So I, I think if Tom Cruise says it's excellent, then I think we're probably in good hands.
Yeah.
And I say that sort of tongue in cheek, but at the same time, a little serious, just because I think Tom Cruise is the type of guy who enjoys movies and would love a movie that is, in a sense, something that he knows would be great for theater. So, yeah.
All right. Well, with that, I think that's going to wrap it up. Thanks for joining me. Talk about the trailer.
Yeah.
How much more CinemaCon do we have? Like news coming out of, like, how many more days is it?
That's a good question. I want to say
I'm asking off the top of your head, Bobby. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think it runs through Thursday, because I think tomorrow there's a Disney presentation.
Okay.
And then I think there's one more presentation on Thursday, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, a quick look. It looks like it goes through Thursday. I don't know
okay.
I don't know what's on Thursday, if it's just one thing, but
Maybe Lionsgate or something like that.
yeah. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. Thanks everyone for joining us. If you're watching us live or in the future, please leave any questions or comments down below here on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified whenever we go live or post any videos in the future. With that, I'm Dave Lott.
Bobby Jackson.
Bye everybody. Thanks for listening and watching.
Yeah.